So the big question is this: how are gigging musicians like us, who don't make any money streaming, who are spending money from our own pockets, how do we treat our music careers as online businesses in a way that lets us get our music and the things we believe in out to the world, yet still remain profitable? That is the question, and this podcast will give you the answer. My name is Jared Judge, and welcome to the Gigging Musician Podcast.
What's up, Gigging Pros? It's Jared, and welcome to another episode of the Gigging Musician Podcast. Today, I wanted to chat a bit about a really incredible tool that helps with everything with your booking. So if you're feeling like, you're not having enough people coming and reaching out to you saying they want to book you, or if people are coming and reaching out to you and saying, hey, we want to book you, how much does it cost? And when you reply that they ghost you, this tool will help fix a lot of those problems. And when I discovered it, it was like illuminating. I felt like my whole world was kind of opened up because I realized that other people were using this tool on me. And I felt like I was kind of seeing the code in the matrix. And it's a marketing tool. And the specific tool is within the realm of copywriting. So before we dive too deep into what this tool is, I want to just give some context. What is copywriting? Copywriting is not the act of putting the copyright logo and symbol onto the end of your, company name or brand name and, copyright 2022. That's not the copywriting I'm talking about. Copywriting is the act of writing copy. That's still C-O-P-Y, but in this case, it means the text that is used in marketing messages to elicit people to actually take action and either book you or buy what you're selling, or just take action like registering for a challenge. That's copywriting. So if you think about copywriting, if you think about any advertisement that you've seen, maybe a billboard on the side of the road, or if you're on Facebook and you see ads and they have text on them, that is marketing copy. And that copy can be structured in a variety of ways. And if you really start to look at the advertisements that you see in your daily life, you'll start to notice some patterns. And the thing is, if you notice these patterns and you start to apply them to the things that you're trying to accomplish with your music, or even not in your music, like say you're trying to, say you have a side business selling pool covers or something, and you start to use these patterns in your pool covers business, you're gonna have a lot more success. Because these patterns are based off of human psychology. And so when you think of somebody trying to, solve a problem, which if you haven't realized by now that your music helps somebody solve their problem, and I talk about this a lot, but for like weddings, the problem that people are trying to solve is they don't want their guests to be bored. They want their guests to be entertained. They want them and their guests to remember their wedding for the rest of their life. So we are solving problems, and for most people, problems really have an emotional impact on people. How does it feel when your guests, like when you are worried about your guests being bored at your wedding? Like that doesn't feel good. That makes me feel fearful and anxious and a little embarrassed. And when you can tap into these emotions, when you're marketing your band or your product or your service, it's emotions where people are primarily sold. So if you can tap into these emotions, identify with them, and leverage them in your marketing copy, that's really where you can sell people. And it's not about the logic behind it. It's not about how many songs you play. It's not about what are the cool stages that you've played on, or who are the cool musicians that you've opened for. People don't care about that. They care about how do you solve their problems. So I'm getting to the tool, but I had to set up some context for it because, understanding this is radically different than what we're taught in our music lessons or music school. And I just want you as the gigging musician listening to this podcast to understand it, because it's so powerful. And I just wish every musician could learn this stuff, because I think it would really change a lot of musicians' lives. There'd be a lot more music out there. All right, so the tool in copywriting is the PAS copywriting formula. PAS stands for problem, agitate, solution. So when you're writing copy, whether it's on a website or when it's an email response or, an ad on Facebook or something. Getting back to the concept that we solve problems, the copy that we write should focus on their problems. So that's where the P in the PAS formula comes in. You want to state their problem. For example, if I were to go back to that wedding example, the problem people are trying to solve is they want them and their guests to be entertained and it to be a memorable experience. So I would start out by saying, I would even ask a question. Do you want your wedding to be a memorable experience that guests rave about and talk about for years to come, wondering when you're going to hold another one? So that is identifying the problem. The second step of the PAS formula is to agitate the problem. You want to make it even worse. So why is the first problem really as bad as it is? So that's where I already mentioned the first part, which was, do you want your wedding to be memorable and entertaining? Second part would be 80% of guests, after weddings, they surveyed weddings, I would say 80% of guests have actually said the number one thing they remember at weddings is the entertainment. And so if your guests are going home and your entertainment was subpar, they're going to talk about that and they're going to have conversations about you behind your back. I mean, I might not actually go that deep, but that's an example of agitating it. Or how else can you make it bad? If you don't want to walk into your wedding with a completely silent backdrop and it sounds really boring and people are on their phones, that would be the agitation part, is, paint the picture of what it's going to truly be like if the problem is not solved. Then the third part is the solution. So if you don't want to experience any of that, then I want to introduce you to my band or my string quartet. We are the top rated string quartet in our city that makes your wedding memorable and something that guests will talk about for years to come. So that is the PAS formula in copywriting. It's problem, agitate, solution. So I want you to start to notice in the advertisements and copy that you see throughout your daily life, even in emails that you receive, start to notice, does the PAS formula show up in your inbox? Does it show up on your Facebook feed? And if it does, I want to hear from you. I want you to let me know. I don't know, send me a message on Instagram at Jared Judge or Facebook, shoot me a friend request. So I want to hear from you. I want to know that you're getting some value out of this and noticing some of the things in marketing and figuring out how to apply it to your music too, because that is incredibly powerful. That's how there's going to be more music in the world, is if we musicians start to market and sell ourselves better. Thanks for tuning into another episode of the Gigging Musician Podcast. Hope you got some value out of it. And we are running another Book More Weddings challenge. So if you want to book more weddings, you're feeling like your calendar is a bit empty, especially with 2.5 million weddings happening in 2022, thanks to the reschedulings from 2020 and 2021. If you want to take advantage of that, you don't want to be left in the dust and you're wondering why are you getting ghosted from people, then join the Book More Weddings challenge to take advantage of this incredible opportunity for musicians here in 2022 and for years to come. By the way, that was a PAS style copywriting. So I shared the problem of, is your calendar feeling a little light? I agitated it by saying that there's going to be more weddings this coming year than ever before, which is true. Check out the New York Times Instagram for that. Then I offered a solution, the Book More Weddings Challenge. So join the Book More Weddings Challenge. Go to bookmorewedingschallenge.com, and I will see you on the inside. Remember, you are just 1 gig away. Thank you for listening to the Gigging Musician Podcast. If you've loved this episode, then please take a screenshot on your phone and post it to Facebook, Instagram, or wherever you post stuff. And be sure to tag me and let me know what you liked about this episode and what you'd like to hear in the future. That'll help me know what to create for you. Also, I would love to give you the most incredible free gift ever, designed to help you book gigs and make a living doing what you love. You can get a copy of my Gigging Secrets book. Just go to giggingsecrets.com right now.